Hey everyone, welcome to Rainbow Soulstrology. I'm Bright Hawk, and together with Hollis Taylor, we bring you weekly astrology that's accessible, inclusive, and totally down to earth. Hollis is a seasoned astrologer and psychic medium. I'm a musician, artist, and storyteller who loves making the cosmos relatable. We're both passionate teachers who love answering your questions and helping you navigate life through the stars. Each week we start with a guided meditation to tune in to the planetary energies. Then we dive into the week's cosmic forecast, offer horoscopes for every sign, and always make time for your live questions. Whether you're brand new to astrology or you've been following the stars for years, we create a welcoming space where everyone belongs. Our different perspectives and styles come together to give you a well-rounded cosmic experience. Welcome to Rainbow Soulstrology. Let's get centered, tune in, and explore what the universe has in store for us this week.
Hello. Hi there. Welcome everyone to Rainbow Soul. We are so glad you're here. Welcome. I know we are going through a Mercury retrograde, and this week we are going to help you through probably peak number 2 is what I would call this. And I think we're going to get through it just fine. We'll have a surprise, but we'll learn more about that a little bit later. Let's do a little meditation first. Bright Hawk's gonna play some hand-pan music for us, and let's take a minute to center and ground. Take this moment to ground yourself. To allow all of your energy to just roll out and allow that tension in your muscles to release. I'd like you to imagine yourself outside on a fall evening. It's not too cold, it's just a little bit cool. You have a jacket on. It's definitely Scorpio season. Most of the leaves have fallen off the trees. And the night sky is dark. And in this moment, the darkness seems to embody you completely. As you stare up at the sky, you recognize the new moon has the sky dark with the stars lighting up the sky and the constellations easy to find. And in this moment, you can feel the strength of this new moon holding you and leading you. Surprising you. In this moment, helping you to realize the path that you belong on. The path that you will walk. Shifting you and helping you find the exact path you are to walk. And as Mercury, the moon, the sun, and Uranus come together, they push you onto a deep path, deep within your heart and your soul, recognizing that you are meant for something else, that this is the direction you will go. And with this powerful energy, this powerful shift, you can walk your path with authenticity and truth. Come back into your body in this moment, in this time of Scorpio, understanding that your soul is deeply aligned with the moon, with the planets, with the stars, and with the universe. Knowing that life is much bigger than this moment in the here and now. And I invite you to come back to your body, come back to your here and now. Wiggle your toes and stretch your hands. Open your eyes. And welcome to Rainbow Soul. Great job, Bright Hawk. Thank you.
Always a pleasure.
Oh, boy, my friends. So we have started this Mercury retrograde way back in October, and we have followed it all the way through each week with you guys, helping you walk all along the way. And what I'm going to say is that I was looking at this, and the closer I looked at this, the closer I was like, oh boy, Okay. This is the peak. This is the peak this week. I'm pretty sure this is going to be the resolution, or at least like the aha, or the okay, we're going this direction. And I'm kind of excited for it. So, especially with everything that Brighthawk and I have been going through. What have you been going through this Mercury retrograde? Why don't you put it down in the comments? We'd love to hear about it. We'd love to know what's going on for you. And if you want to share your placements, that's helpful too. I'm a Scorpio rising. And then plus I'm a Virgo. So this Mercury retrograde in Scorpio it's definitely affecting me. And Brighthawk there is a Virgo rising.
And if you don't know, Mercury rules Virgo, right? So just help you follow along here. So people who have Virgo placements or Gemini, because Mercury also rules Gemini. So yeah, y'all. And of course, I have Mercury retrograde, so I find it interesting, and I watch Hollis, boy, really have a hard time putting a sentence together sometimes. Of no fault of their own. It's just the Mercury retrograde. It seems to happen pretty exclusively.
Most of the time I'm pretty good at communicating, but
very.
Okay, so this is Monday, so hopefully you're watching this on Sunday, Monday, and you can see that we have that beautiful grand trine, which is emotional, sort of coming together. You've had an emotional shift about whatever this Mercury retrograde has been for you. You've had a shift in the way you feel. Maybe you've healed up. Maybe you've changed the way you feel about something, or you've just come to realize something. Okay, and that's really what this grand trine is about in Scorpio. It's about realizations, and coming into an understanding of something. And I think that's like kind of where we kind of begin the week, is in having just made a bit of a shift, right? A bit of a shift in our Mercury, in our grand trine. And the grand trine mostly is with the Sun, Saturn, and Neptune, and Cancer, which all in a trine together in a water sign. Jupiter and Cancer and water. And although there's some retrograde planets there, I still think that makes you like kind of review something, maybe an old belief system or something like that you have has now shifted for you. I think that could be a real advantage for you, for most of us. And so when we go on to Tuesday, this is when it's still holding that grand trine. Go ahead, Bruno.
Well, before we do that, sorry.
It's okay.
Before we do that, there's not a lot of void of course moons this week. There's always a void moment when the moon moves between the zodiac signs about every 2.5 days. But last week, we had some all day. This time, the only all day one is on Monday. And then after that, I don't even mention them because they're less than an hour or 55 minutes. So it's like, you're not even going to notice. So when it's all day, I think, especially if it's your sign, or if the moon, you're a Cancer sign or something like that, when the moon is void, of course, all day, I think some of us really notice it. Others, not so much, but I find it fascinating because it definitely affects all of us, but some way more than others. So I just wanted to point out this week, the only really big void is basically from noon to 9:45 Mountain Time on Monday, November 17th. And then after that, there's very few the rest of the week.
So what I was going to say is that
And the yacht, did you talk about that?
Not yet. What I was going to say is that the void of course moon is I'm just going to say that last week I think when we were having all those void of course moons, we were also feeling very sluggish, like, oh my gosh, is this going to change? How are we going to change this? This is like, and I think it felt a little bit hard to manage. It felt hard to do. It felt hard to walk through. And you kind of felt like you were weighed down or sluggish last week. And I don't, I just think overall, and I think that's probably because of the Mercury retrograde kind of slowed things down.
Yeah.
Plus, we got Saturn slowing things down. We have, and then towards the end of last week, over the weekend, we've started to make an emotional shift towards, okay, this is what we're doing. This is how we're resolving that. This is what we're doing. Okay. And now we have this yod pointing at the Libra moon. And, I've temporary yods like that. They sometimes are just, especially with the moon like that, because that's usually when they're real temporary, is the moon, because it's such a fast moving planet, I guess. And so when the moon is involved in a yod, I find that it's just kind of quick. Like, it's just kind of like aha, right? Okay. And with this yod pointing from Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, part of the Great Reveal, and Uranus down there in Taurus, because we've been going through this Great Reveal, right, since the summer of 25, even the spring of 25, since Saturn and Neptune have been traveling together. I think that has created what I'm calling the Great Reveal, which every time Saturn and Neptune are essentially traveling together, which has a lot to do with politics, because that's what Saturn rules, politics typically. Saturn rules our system, our government. And it's pulling from down there, that Neptune at 29 degrees. And with Saturn right close by, and Neptune being in its rulership and being retrograde, this is about the things that are hidden. And I find it interesting as we approach Monday, knowing that the Epstein files are on their way out with that Libra moon and Uranus retrograde in Taurus. And, Taurus is very like, oh, this is how we've always done it. And Uranus is retrograde. So Uranus is like, are you sure you always wanted to do it this way? Are you sure you want it to happen this way? Are you sure you're going to tolerate a pedophile in your office? And then pointing at that Libra moon, which is all about justice. Okay. And I think with that yod, we can't ignore that justice right there. I mean, if you guys want me to just, I don't spend a whole lot on politics, but I do try to mention it, because I think for our mental well-being, a lot of us worry about what's going on and stuff like that. And I think knowing that it's reflected in the stars can help you and me and everyone recognize that what's happening and unfolding in front of us is meant to happen, and to help us understand this transition, because this is a really intense time. Like, I mean, as far as governments and stuff like that go, as far as the United States is going through a revolution right now. And I think most of us know that, right? Like, and I told you we were, and astrologers have been predicting this revolution since Pluto entered Aquarius the first time back in like 2023, I think it was. They have been saying 2022, somewhere back then, we've been talking about, here comes the revolution. The revolution's on its way. We're going to have a revolution. I said it last year. We're going to have a revolution. And that's exactly what's happening. It's a long transit. Pluto in Aquarius is only at 1 degree. It's going to take a good 20 years. I think we've got like 19 of those years left, and we're just getting started. So, a revolution doesn't have to look, I appreciate that Rick Levine always reminds people of this. It doesn't have to look the same way it looked back in the American Revolution when you think about that. Because the United States is having what we call a Pluto return. This is 240 years ago when the United States was first established. That's where Pluto is. It's kind of in the same area. And it's speaking to we the people, right? And we're noticing that we the people we have to step up. We have to say, we don't want our government like this anymore. We're tired of it functioning this way. We are exhausted by this process. This has got to stop, right? And so all of those changes that we're experiencing right now, I think, are super hyper important, and this is all reflected in the stars. So like on those moments that you feel really frustrated, just know that no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. And I think that's the most important message here. But I'm just telling you that yod, I'm looking at it and I'm laughing, going, and here we are recording on Saturday evening, and I think they've started releasing the Epstein files, and there's all kinds of hoo-ha about that. So I think that's the part of the great reveal, which I've been talking about since the summer. Right. All right. So as we discover things going forward, I think, Monday, Tuesday, the biggest the intensity, I think, is going to really come in. I don't think we're going to notice it here as much, Bright Hawk, on Tuesday when Mercury's at 0 degrees. I think it's going to be during the Cazimi, which is the new moon, and it's not void or anything, you said. So this is the Cazimi that I was looking at on Wednesday. A Cazimi is when a planet comes pretty much the same degree as the sun, because the sun technically is the strongest planet in the sky always. It's like it's always pointing us in, it's our flashlight, okay? And that's how I always explain it. It's our flashlight. It's always showing us where to go. It's shining the light on which direction to go. It shines the light on who you are on the surface. It's not gonna, give us big insights about your sun in your natal chart. It's not going to give us big insights about how you work emotionally. It's just going to show us who you are on the outside, what and your vitality, and maybe what you look like, or things like that. But it's not really about your deep inner emotions, even if it is in Scorpio. But the Cazimi with the moon the moon and Mercury retrograde, Cazimi, the sun, Cazimi at the same time, pretty much all at the same time on Wednesday. I'm interested to see what happens. Because I feel like that's going to be a level of intensity that will be interesting, because it's going to be a surprise, because it is in opposition to Uranus, which is retrograde in Taurus. And I just feel like with that Cazimi happening, maybe it won't be a surprise to you. Maybe you but I feel like there's going to be some intensity and it's at the top of a grand trine. So I don't think it's necessarily bad. I think it could actually be a good thing, especially because it's part of a grand trine. It just might you might have thought you were going one direction and now you're not. I'm pretty sure this is the shift. I'm pretty sure, because Mercury's retrograde, it's going to come back and deliver a message about something that you had before. Probably at the beginning of this Mercury retrograde, which was earlier in November. Probably right before the like right around just the first few days of November, before Mercury went retrograde, even late October, because I think that's about where Mercury was around that time. So late October, around Halloween maybe. And so with Mercury, the sun, and the moon there, and the new moon, that usually the new moon is usually about kicking off new things, right, Bright Hawk?
Well, absolutely. The new moon is always when we want to set our intentions for this moon cycle. And Scorpio, of course, is very deep, very spiritual, can be on the secretive side, but what I'm also wanting to point out, if you're studying astrology with us or you're learning astrology, I think we're all always students of astrology. You never stop learning. Once you start, you can't stop. Is to just point out something really simple, that you can see the sun and the moon, the new moon, at the bottom of the circle in this chart, at the bottom between the third and fourth house. This is an almost midnight new moon in Scorpio. So, which is similar to the time I was born. I was born at 20 to 12 on 12/20. So I know all about this placement. And if you're starting to understand, when you see certain things in the chart, this is one of those times when you go, oh, when the sun and the moon are together, it's a new moon. When it's at the bottom of the chart in that exact position, that's midnight. If it was opposite, and of course we've been talking about how sun and moon, especially the sun, and then it's going to be Mercury, are opposite the 29-degree Uranus, which is really kind of intense. Surprise minute! It's hard to say what kind. So remember, you can always say my little thing that's in my storybook. I'm willing to be delightfully surprised. Delightfully surprised. It's a good thing to say to the universe. That way, when you know you're getting a surprise, you've hopefully invoked it's a delightful surprise. Because, change happens. So if we call for delightful surprises, I feel like it works out pretty well.
Well,
fake it till you make it, and make it till you master it.
Well, it is part of a grand trend. So I feel like that will kind of help us. It will come together easily, whatever it is. And so that'll probably be Wednesday night, could be Thursday morning for some of us. And I think the new moon Wednesday, Thursday is really going to be what's super important. And I think that these energies this week, this is like sort of wrapping up our Mercury retrograde, where, during Mercury retrograde, usually Mercury is speaking to what you need to review, edit, or revisit or reconsider. And I'm pretty sure that with Mercury retrograde, I frankly think that that there's usually a couple of times during the Mercury retrograde before Mercury goes direct again, which will happen on the 29th. When during the Mercury retrograde, there's usually a couple little peaks or happenings, and I'm pretty sure that's what's happening here. And so, the universe is talking to you. Some of us might know on Tuesday. Some of us might know on Wednesday. And it might just be that you get news delivered to you, or some new information comes to you somehow, especially because it's Mercury, right? So Mercury is about communication, information, and it's in Scorpio. So it could be about a shift. You can always look and see where Scorpio and Sagittarius are in your chart. And that's probably where it's going to happen. It's going to happen right in there, in between Scorpio and Sagittarius. So it could be about like money, or your home, depending on where it's at. Okay. It could be about relationships. It's just going to really depend on where Scorpio and Sagittarius meet in your chart. Look where that is. And that's where this Mercury retrograde is happening. This is at 28 degrees Scorpio. You can see all three of them at the bottom of this chart here. Mercury at 28, Sun at 28, the moon at 28. And so they're all at the same degree. And that's what we call a cazimi. Anything that's with the sun at the same degree is called a cazimi. Okay. And so it's Sun cazimi. It's a cazimi Mercury, cazimi moon. Okay. And mostly it just means that it's exaggerated, that it's intense, right? Okay. And of course, this is a new moon. it's in Scorpio, but I think the Mercury retrograde is going to make it intense. It could kind of it could kind of push you off your path a little bit. Like you thought you were going this way, but then it's like the universe comes up and says, no, 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 this way. And then you're like, oh, oh, oh. So you might trip a little bit, but I think you'll get there okay. Because Uranus is retrograde in Taurus, it makes me sometimes think about wherever Taurus rules in your chart. So you want to look at where Taurus is in your chart. Does this have to do with like what house is it in? Do you have anything at 29 degrees Scorpio Taurus? Do you have anything on that axis there? Because you'll be more affected. Anyone with anything at late degrees, Taurus, Scorpio, also Leo and Aquarius. So if you have anything at late degrees, those it will be most intense for people with the late degree Scorpio or Taurus, or and then secondarily to Leo Aquarius, mostly because it will be in a square. It will be a little bit easier for Leo Aquarius people with late degree placements to navigate it. Everybody else will feel it, but it may not be super intense. It could be something in the background. You could watch your partner or your friend go through it. Or it could be what we witness in our politics. Absolutely. And that could have something to do with like money, or with mostly when we start to look about politics, we start to thinking about, because it's Taurus, we start to think about the revolution or lack thereof, or a stall in the revolution, because Uranus is retrograde. Maybe the Democrats won't know what to do with the information about Trump and the Epstein files that they get just a day or so before. Maybe there won't be enough movement on it. Jupiter is retrograde at this time in Cancer. So when we talk about the politics, Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, which is making reference to a lot of the protests and things like that. And it's retrograde right now. So that means that the protests maybe don't happen. Maybe they're not well organized. Maybe maybe they don't get covered by the news or whatever it is. And I've watched Jupiter align with all the protests this year and last year. And I'll tell you what, Jupiter has been exactly aligned with the protests every time, because Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, and Cancer rules. Jupiter in Cancer is definitely about patriotism, and it has aligned not with what we normally call patriots in the United States. It's actually usually aligned with the protests, the people like the No Kings protest and things like that. That's what it's been aligned with. Okay. So and that is part of the grand trine here. So this Cazimi, it is part of the grand trine. So there could absolutely be something in relation to that comes up. And that could be very important. And maybe that's all it is for you. Maybe it's just something in the news. And, maybe you choose not to pay attention to the news, and that's okay. But I'm just letting you know that, here it is. It's happening in the stars. It's okay. It's supposed to happen. So as we go forward this week, I really think that's going to be the height, right? And by the time you get to Thursday, you're already going to have resolved your issue. Whatever's going on there is going to kind of resolve. And I feel like that grand trine is still there. I mean, it's still holding all week. So I feel like even though there's no void moons, I don't feel like we're going to be slowing down this week. I still feel like it's going to be a fast-paced week. It's going to go by quickly. It's going to happen fast. You're not going to feel like you're dragging your feet or dragging an extra 50 pounds behind you. You're feeling like you're going forward. I'm pretty sure that's how that grand trine energy is going to be. Plus, there are no void moons at all, or none to speak of, because none of them are very fast. The sun does move into Sagittarius on Saturday. But I feel like, at that point we still have that grand trine with the Mercury retrograde going on. And I just feel like this energy is just fast moving. I feel like it's just fast, fast, fast. Did you have anything you wanted to say, Bright Hawk?
Well, why don't you go to the first slide and let's just talk about the retrogrades for a second.
The first slide, slide 1.
Or 2, really. There it is. So we've been talking a lot about Mercury retrograde. We know that Saturn has been retrograde for months, and it is going to go direct on the 27th. Okay? So then, just a couple days later, this Mercury retrograde will end, because Mercury retrogrades are short. They're usually 4 to 6 weeks. This one's taken place most of November. And so it'll go direct on the 29th. Okay? And then Neptune is going to go direct on December 10th. And then Uranus on February 3rd. And Jupiter won't go direct until March 10th. And at that point, it's going to be a very different vibe. So remember, when we talk about retrogrades, we're always talking about review, re-edit, remodel, restore, recalibrate, readjust. It's all the re words, right? And when we're talking about these planets, just to be helpful so this doesn't sound like jargon, when we're talking about Saturn, we're talking about work, structure, father, authority, the man, institutions, okay? We're talking about Mercury, we're talking about communication, technology, travel, thinking, communicating. We're talking about Neptune. We're talking about dreams and visions, also illusions, dreaminess, right? Dreamy, an illusionary, imagination, creativity. But it can also get us really, think about how well you see through water, right? Uranus, revolution and change. That's the best way we can describe Uranus, right? And Jupiter we describe as the great benefic, right? It makes everything bigger, asks you what you really want, really wants you to, carpe diem, seize the day, make life beautiful. What do you want with your life? So when all of these energies go direct, that means there's we've gone from review, and we're backing up to, okay, let's move forward. And that becomes the energy of it's time to launch things. It's time to move forward out into the world, whatever it is. It's like the tide is like taking whatever it is you're ready to offer, and boom. So notice the difference between what's happening now and all the retrograde energy and what's going to start to unfold over the next few weeks and months.
What I was thinking while you were talking about the whole retrograde thing is, like sometimes when we hear that, like Mercury retrograde has a really bad reputation, but usually the things that break are things that were warning you before Mercury went retrograde. Like, like something's been going on with your car, right? And then Mercury goes retrograde and it breaks. So it's like, well, I did warn you for about 3 weeks. Okay. So, things break. And sometimes it's about your computer. It's all kinds of things like that. And I think that I try not to say good or bad in astrology. Like I don't say this is a good placement or a bad placement. That's not usually how it is. It's usually like this could be a challenge. And the fact of the matter is that if everything's easy all the time, what ends up happening is you you end up you end up like kind of it's so easy you never grow. And everything grows under pressure. And some of us might feel a little exhausted. And if you're feeling exhausted, I ask you to take a closer look at your chart. And you've probably had lots of transits going on. But, if you're like, well, here we go, it's okay. Just try to accept that. I mean, frankly, of Mercury retrogrades, this isn't that hard. This one I've seen way more difficult ones. This one, I think is going to peak this week, and then it's going to eventually go direct at the end of the month, and then by then we're going to have it all resolved. And then by the time it's completely over, retracing its path, that'll be December 16th, and at that point Saturn and Neptune have gone direct. And when Saturn and Neptune go direct, I really think we're going to really experience a whole new shift in energy. We're going to really know what we want, what we need, where we're going in the coming year. And wouldn't that feel great? And maybe there will be some problems resolved, particularly even in our government, but also in other things too, in our personal lives. We'll have a good idea, especially with Neptune. I feel like Neptune going direct, I feel like that's going to be a release, because every time Neptune's retrograde, that's because Neptune, unless you were born with Neptune retrograde, but Neptune is your vision. That's your vision forward. That's your, oh, this is the direction I'm going. And when it's retrograde, I sometimes feel like I can't see things as clearly. And then when it goes direct again, I can see more clearly. And then I know which direction I'm going, and things come together in a better way. And especially since it's traveling with Saturn, and I've been really watching this great reveal. And this is going to be this is the beginning of the end of the great reveal. We still have more to reveal between now and the spring. I told you it won't be over until spring of 26, the great reveal. The great reveal is in your personal life, wherever Saturn is. It's going to reveal something to you and help you recognize maybe something about yourself. It's going to help you come to terms with some things, maybe change how you function, how you work in the world, how you present in the world, how your life works, what your energy feels like. It's going to change. It's probably going to shift your entire life, or has been. Maybe you're kind of in the middle of a transformation now. And I think that that's a big deal. And it's mostly because Saturn and Neptune, I know that when Neptune went retrograde, I got a reveal. So every time Neptune moves directions or signs, you'll get something. It's like, ta-da! Or every time a major aspect happens, it's like, ta-da! And all of a sudden something else is presented to you. I know it has happened in my personal life. It's happened with my relationships. It's happened around my financial situation. And it's even happened in our government. It's happening everywhere. So when you realize in my health, which have actually been really beneficial to me to realize exactly where a particular type of, I was having some issues with migraines and stuff, and now recognize where they're coming from, okay, and what is the trigger, because that's anyone dealing with chronic pain. We know that we have to find out where the triggers are, right? So if you're dealing with any kind of health things or anything like that, be on the lookout as Neptune moves directions. Note these days, pay attention, because Neptune's going to first go direct, and when it goes direct, then later on in 2026, it's going to move into Aries. And when it changes signs, you'll also notice a reveal. And I think that's the big deal about Neptune, is that it is, while it's a slow mover, sort of like Uranus tends to be our revolution, and it's going to move into Gemini. So I really can see the end of this resistance to the gender revolution. I'm pretty sure that's coming to an end. I'm pretty sure in 2026 and forward, we will start to experience more freedom around gender expression and transgender rights and all of that stuff. We will make major progress in that. We are not going backwards anymore. This is the end. This is it. And Uranus goes direct in February. And once it goes direct, it's going to then move into Gemini soon thereafter in the spring. I think it's like April. And it's just going to light us up. It's going to light everything up. And it's really going to help us find our path. So try to stay positive even during these dark times. Do your shadow work. Make sure you take a look at yourself. That's what this Mercury retrograde is about. It's about taking a look at your shadow and who you are. And, what does that mean to you? Because if we just all go around with our head in the sand, unfortunately, I'm not sure that's good for any of us. Not you, not me, or not for our entire culture, really. And with this week's alignments, by the time we get to the weekend, I feel like we'll have had our peak with the Mercury retrograde, and we'll be headed towards resolution and completeness of that Mercury retrograde. And with the sun moving into Sagittarius, it's going to take the light off of our shadow, because that's pretty much what the Scorpio season is. Scorpio season is all about taking a look at those deep, dark things that we hide deep down inside. So, if you have any interest in doing shadow work, I have been offering, there's a shadow work class right now that's available that you can just watch on your leisure in my Mystics Academy. Plus, the hilarious part, on the day of the new moon on the 19th, there will be a practice group. This is a great day for you to come in and practice, especially at a new moon, to practice your your psychic reading or whatever kind of readings that you might do. We have Mystics Academy. We've been working through our shadows. We've been working on practicing things with each other. And so I'm hoping, if you decide to join at the novice mystics level, you can join us on the 19th at 4:00 on Zoom, and we'll all be practicing doing readings with each other. And, we'll also be talking about shadow work and how that applies to us directly. And I think that those are pretty important topics. Okay. So Mystics Academy is a great way to, we're doing shadow work. We're learning how to read with each other. We're doing meditations. We have reading parties. We have all kinds of stuff. Plus there's a teaching video every month in the Patreon. So I hope you'll take a minute to join that. And I get big into finding your shadow in your astrology this month. In this month's video, I took a deep dive into finding how to find your shadow in your natal chart, what to look for, how to find it, how to interpret that, and even how to find the resolution to those shadow parts of yourself. Sometimes I think some of the astrology is just validating, like, oh, that's part of my chart. That's part of who I am. And then what I've noticed about parts of us that are considered that we might initially like sort of see as a shadow or whatever, that later on, sometimes we see it as, instead of as a shadow, we can see the light of it. We can see, oh, while it's sometimes not great when this happens, sometimes it's expressed this way, and that's okay. And that's definitely happened to me. So take a look at that. I hope you join Mystics Academy. Join us over in Mystics Academy. It's a lot of fun. And it's a good way to grow, to learn more in astrology, to study doing psychic readings with me or medium readings, and to connect in a variety of ways with me. So I'm
gonna put you on mute and I'll talk while you shuffle. Of course, Hollis does an amazing job not only with astrology but also with tarot. And I have to say, if you're at a point in your life where you're like, I'm not sure, or whatever it is, astrology is a map to your life. And and I get it, not everyone is up for taking the years that it's taken both of us to have a working vocabulary in astrology. And Hollis is I'm just going to say particularly good. Get yourself a reading and get yourself some answers about what's going on, how to take advantage of the energy to your greatest advantage, and what to avoid, how to surf it. So I'm just going to say it's a really wonderful thing to gift yourself or even someone else. The season's coming up, and maybe you know someone else. Maybe you're not the one that's stuck, but you know somebody else who is. It's a great gift to give. So the other thing we do at Rainbow Soulstrology at the end of every podcast is the tarot deck. Hollis pulls 3 cards from the Love is Love deck, which is a pride deck that each card is created by a different artist. And they do a 3-card pull for the past, for the present, and for the future. And what we have consistently found is that the tarot has a way of speaking to the same themes we've been talking about in the astrology and just sort of help you see it in another way. You ready? Okay.
All right, and here we go. Let's first start. I'm just going to pull this out and go, oh, that's Mercury, all right. This is like the mercurial card of this entire deck. This is the 8 of Wands. And why is it mercurial? Well, obviously, look at it. It's messages. This is messages from your ancestors, messages from the other side. I'm actually excited to see this card. It's a really great card. This is about your messages. This is about what messages you've already received. So I'm guessing that there's messages you've already received, and this is making reference to those messages during this Mercury retrograde. Maybe something has come up. Maybe you've already received some messages or you've already become aware of some things. And interestingly, going forward in the now, this is the Ace of Swords, which is about taking action, and it's actually about taking positive action, doing the right thing, doing a good thing. So this is actually a really great card. As an Ace of Swords, it's really positive in that it helps you recognize that whatever you've been thinking about is in a positive way, right? Like that's why there's herbs and a a drag queen shoe hanging off that crown there. The Ace of Swords is really, swords usually are about thoughts and actions going together. And this is really about, okay, so whatever message came through, you took a positive action. And then going forward, we got a beautiful card that I rarely actually get. This is the World card. This is a really great card because this card is really special for a variety of reasons, because it really brings the gifts. It has earth, air, fire, and water all represented here with this person who is clearly expressing themselves freely and completely in the way that they should. And this is a really powerful card. This is really about embracing what is to come. Sometimes I always say when we get the World card, regardless of what deck it's in, is the world is your oyster. You have all the freedom you need. And that's exactly what this is. This is about the future. This is about what's to come. This is in the position of what's coming towards you. So remember, the past is about those messages that you've already gotten and the action that you're taking in relation to those messages. And maybe you've already taken some great action on that. And this is sort of like, good job, you're doing the right thing, taking the right actions. And then this is the reward, which is a great reward. The world, the World card is really like the world is your oyster. This is really about growth and moving forward. This is really about embracing your future. It's a really great gift. It's really a gift from the universe. So I just want to say that this is actually a really positive reading. This is really strong, especially with the Ace of Swords and the World card in our future. That speaks to a really great week.
Wow. Just going to say it. That's amazing. That's an incredible reading. Holy moly. God, each week, every time, I'm just so blown away by each card, each placement of each card, and that World card. Whew. Wow, that's awesome. All right, you guys. Well, we wish you an awesome week I hope it goes well. Blessings to the new moon. Blessings to the end of Scorpio. Blessings for the beginning of the Sagittarius season. May you make great wishes and have wonderful dreams. And thanks for listening to Rainbow Soulstrology. Thanks for subscribing and hearting. We really, really appreciate it. And sharing, of course. We're at Rainbow Soulstrology. We try to be a bridge between you and the stars. Have a great week, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for spending time with us this week. We hope you're feeling more connected to the cosmic energies and ready to work with them in your daily life. If you enjoyed today's show, please hit the subscribe button. It really helps us reach more people who could use some cosmic guidance. And don't forget to share this episode with anyone who might need to hear it. We love hearing from you, so drop a comment, let us know what resonated most or what you would like covered next week. Your questions and feedback make our show better. Want to join us live? Subscribe! And catch us on Facebook and YouTube, where you can ask questions in real time and be part of our cosmic community as it happens. Until next week, trust your intuition, follow your inner wisdom, and remember, the stars are always supporting your journey. Thanks for listening to Rainbow Soulstrology, where we try to be a bridge between you and the stars.